Hello everyone. I hope you all are healthy and fine. I am Neelam Chaudhary, working with Professor Jyoti Firani in Chemical Engineering Department at IIT Delhi. We are working on methane gas recovery from oceanic class 2 reservoirs. I am going to present part of our work, which is effects of layers on gas recovery from an oceanic class 2 unconfined gas hydrate reservoirs. Before getting into the technicalities of our work, let's see, why do we even need the research on gas hydrates? Or even before that, what are the gas hydrates? As we know that the energy demand is increasing every year. The energy demands are much more than the energy production. India, as well as other growing countries, are mainly dependent on the imports. Currently, India imports more than 80% of the energy required. So, in order to meet this high demand, we need to look upon other available means of energy production. There comes the gas hydrates, which contains large amount of methane gas, and in India also the gas hydrates are discovered. To explore the gas hydrate reservoirs, we need to understand the gas hydrates first. Gas hydrates are crystalline ice-like structure where gas molecules are trapped inside the water molecule lattice at high pressure and low temperature conditions. They are found in permafrost and in oceanic deep water sediments. Based on the complexities of the gas hydrates, three types of crystalline structures are present in nature: S1, S2, and SH. Our work is focused on S1 structures as it mainly contains methane and present in abundance. Also, based on the overburden and underburden layers, gas hydrate reservoirs are divided into four classes: Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and Class 4. We are working on Class 2 reservoirs, which contains a water layer below the hydrate layer. It is further divided into two types: confined Class 2 hydrate reservoirs and unconfined Class 2 gas hydrate reservoirs. In this work, we are working on unconfined class 2 reservoirs which has a large water layer below the hydrate layer. So now we know what are the gas hydrates. But how do we get the methane gas out from these reservoirs? We know that the gas hydrates are formed at high pressure and low temperature conditions, and we can predict the existence of gas hydrates using this PET curve given by Sloan. This is the equilibrium curve. Here, at the quadruple point, all the four phases can coexist: gas, aqueous, ice, and hydrate. So, the gas hydrates are formed at high pressure and low temperature, which means they are formed around here in this figure. So, in order to dissociate them, we can either decrease the pressure below the hydrate stability pressure, which is called depressurization, or increase the temperature above the hydrate stability temperature, which is called thermal stimulation method. Other methods which can be used to dissociate hydrates are inhibitor injection method or CO2 injection. Inhibitors shift this curve upwards and CO2 replace the methane molecules in the hydrates. But these two methods are costly. Also, when we use a confined reservoir, depressurization alone is sufficient. But for an unconfined reservoir, thermal stimulation method is also required along with depressurization method. The feasibility of the gas production has already been proved with these short-term offshore tests. Japan did two production tests and so did China. They produced gas for 5-6 days, but at every test many problems occurred, and these tests could only be done for a few days. To avoid the potential problems during the long-term production test, reservoir simulations beforehand becomes essential. We use an in-house legacy simulator which has been validated and history matched in the US DOE code comparison study. These are the mass balance and energy balance equations. They are discretized in time and space and solved with finite volume method and backward Euler's method. The obtained fully implicit scheme then solved with Newton-Raphson method. Before working on layers, we worked on well configuration, well placement, and sensitivity towards pressure and temperature of the reservoir. In this study, we placed vertical and horizontal wells at different locations and in different combinations and analyzed the best case scenario. Then we worked on uncertainty quantification. Currently, we are working on effect of layers on the gas production. We introduced two hydrate layers and one infinite aquifer layer, like this. This is the reservoir block, 1200 meter long, 500 meter thick, and 30 meters deep. We modeled our reservoir block based on our previous studies. In our previous work, we observed that the horizontal wells produce the best results from an unconfined reservoir. When the injector is located near the aquifer and the producer at the top of hydrate layer, the gas produced is highest of all the cases and starts from the beginning. Therefore, we use two horizontal wells in this case. One injector located near the aquifer layer and producer located at the top of the hydrate layer. First, we designed a heterogeneous reservoir block based on our previous research. Now we introduce layers in the reservoir to introduce heterogeneity which change the porosity of the layers. But why porosity? Because in our simulations, we use Cevan's power law which correlates porosity and permeability. Then we study the sensitivity of gas recovery towards reservoir porosity. We want to know if at all the gas production is sensitive to the reservoir porosity. Then we study the impact of heterogeneity on the gas recovery. We perform sensitivity analysis of gas recovery towards the porosity of the reservoir. The presence of hydrate changes the effective porosity of the reservoir and hence permeability based on the power law. This figure shows the percent gas recovery from the reservoir. We can see from this figure that as we increase the porosity of the reservoir, the percent gas recovery also increases. 0.45 is the highest porosity of the reservoir, which gives the highest gas recovery in this case. The gas-water ratio graph shows that the fraction of water produced also decreases with decrease in porosity. This suggests that at lower porosity values, the available energy for dissociation is more due to more sediments present at low porosity. But low porosity means low permeability, and this low permeability reduces the warm water injection, which leads to the reduced heat injection to the reservoir and hence low gas and water production. This is why the gas-water ratio is more at low porosity values. In this analysis, we considered homogeneous reservoir, but the gas hydrate reservoirs in nature are heterogeneous. And now we know that the gas production is sensitive to the porosity of the reservoir. We introduced heterogeneity in our model by changing the porosity of the layers. 6 different heterogeneous cases are considered, and the porosity and distribution of permeability are shown here in this figure. These are the 6 cases that we consider. In first 2 cases, the porosity of the aquifer is similar, and we change the porosity of two hydrate layers. Similarly, for case C and D, and so in case E and F. In this figure, we observe that the percent gas recovery is more when the porosity of top layer is more. Here, in case A and B, when we compare these two cases, case A has low gas recovery compared to case B. We then analyze the rest of the cases and they present the same scenario, that the percent gas recovery is more when the porosity of the top layer near the overburden is more. Case B, D and F has the more porosity of the top layer near the overburden as compared to A, C and E. Hence, the percent gas recovery is also more at the for case B, D and F as compared to A, C and E. When we look at gas water ratio, it shows that the water production is very low for case A and B, resulting into a high gas water ratio. This is because the water produced is sensitive towards the aquifer permeability. At low aquifer porosity, hence low permeability, the water production is less. So, the gas production from heterogeneous reservoir is affected the most by the top layer because the available enthalpy for dissociation from overburden contributes to the more gas recovery. Further, to see the impact of top layer, we varied the porosity of top layer in case E and F, where aquifer layer has the similar porosity. Here, we can see in both the cases that the gas recovery increases as we increase the porosity of top layer. Here, in case E, when we increase the top layer porosity from 0.32 to 0.38, the gas recovery also increases. The similar scenario can be observed in case F when we increase the top layer porosity from 0.40 to 0.44. When we compare these two figures, we can clearly see that the total percent gas recovery is more in case F as compared to case E. It is around 50% for case F and 40% for case E. This is clearly because the top layer located near the overburden affect the gas production more because of the heat availability from the overburden. Further, we are working on impact of infinite aquifer layer permeability on the gas recovery. From this study, it is clear that the aquifer layer contributes to the water production more and the gas production recovery is sensitive to the top layer of the hydrate zone. But how aquifer layer permeability impacts the gas production? This is not clear yet. So this is our future study. We are going to work on the gas recovery impacted by the aquifer layer porosity. These are the conclusions we draw from our work. Gas production is more sensitive towards the porosity in the reservoir as it governs the warm water injection rate and injection volume, thus governing the dissociation energy available to gas hydrates. The permeability of layer near the overburden significantly affect the gas production due to accessibility of the dissociation energy from the overburden. The bottom layer of hydrate bearing zone located near the aquifer layer helps in propagation of dissociation front. The infinite aquifer layer has impact on water production, but the overall gas production is not significantly affected by aquifer alone. We want to acknowledge and convey our regards for the financial support granted by Science and Energy Board, SERB, India. Thank you.